Hi there and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing some art with Play-Doh. And I got this in my local Walmart, so I got the secondary colors, the primary colors, or as close as I could get them, and also I found this really cool thing. This wasn't a thing when I was in my youths. This is metallic Play-Doh, who would known? So I thought it was pretty cool. So you might be asking yourself, why Play-Doh? And thanks for asking. Have you ever been just minding your own business, doing what you do, and then your brain goes blah? Remember that time when you were a kid and you had to do those writing projects where you had to do an art thing at the top and then writing cursive at the bottom, the same line over and over again, and you wanted to do something really special, so you made the art project at the top out of plasticine and you layered it and you spent so much time in it, and so that you spent so much time in it, you wanted to do the writing part also beautiful. You spent hours of your time as a kid doing this, but because plasticine has oil, it kind of seeped in through the paper when you were not watching, and when you handed it in, it just made a mess and it dried up, and so it fell off and you ended up getting a really bad grade. You were really sad about that. Nope, just me. Cool. Well, this one is for my inner child. This is for little Ellie. So first things first, I wanted to make a grid to know what colors I was going to be working on, and what colors do they mix. After a long time, I was able to do this fancy dandy grid, and I added more colors because I found my mica powder, my pearlescent mica powder, but I didn't show this part. I don't know why. So for the sketch, I just wanted to be something cute and friendly and just fun and whimsical. And of course, I made a little cat, a little kitty, a little space cadet, because I just found a really cute little cat in space, cat lost in space. I just thought it was nice. So I ended up really liking this little drawing, and I might use it in the future for something else, but it was a good spur of the moment drawing. So now that I have this, my question was, what am I going to use for a canvas? And I decided to use glass because it would be really fun if the little kitty was actually floating in space. And so I decided that it might be nice to use up one of the many frames that I have. And it was pretty easy, this part, to like put the Play-Doh on the canvas. I just needed to paste the reference on the back, and that way I could just go on top and start doing the Play-Doh things. The chart was actually really useful for me to know or engage what things I needed to mix to get certain colors. So I recommend, if you're gonna try this, to do the chart too. It's pretty useful. Now you're gonna see me use this tool here and there. It's like a rubber tip, and it has a little bit of an edge, so it helps mold things. But I discovered that just using your finger is pretty much all you need. Fingers and nails to shape the shapes. Very smart sentence there. Shape the shapes. I decided to leave the whole process in just because when I watch other people sculpting, I like watching the process, just seeing the moments of, I don't know, hesitation, or the moments when something doesn't really come out the way that they think it's gonna come out, and you kind of notice from the hesitation in the hands, or like the tapping in the fingers or something like that. And it's kind of interesting for me to see what they do to overcome that. And so I thought that you might find this interesting. See, in this part, I discovered that using water, it helps make things more smooth, so smooth things out, and it helps connect things instead of having to like tap it and trying to push it into merging with the other pieces of Play-Doh. So using a little bit of water and surface rubbing the Play-Doh joints, parts where they connect, it help to make it into one homogeneous blob. Apart from that, I was doing the little mouth and the eyes. Not gonna lie, I like the sketch more than the end product, just because it looks so derpy in the sketch, and I don't know why I couldn't replicate that far apart eyes with lost gaze. I tried, but it didn't come out as funny as it came out in the sketch. So this would be a perfect time if you have any laundry to fold, or any dishes to be done, or any other chore that you have dreaded to do but need to do. You can butt a W. I'll be sculpting and you'll be doing whatever it is that you need to do. And this part I wasn't sure whether I want to put a little pink nose, because it's cute, or if I wanted to use a more realistic little black nose. But I ended up using the pink nose because it's cuter. And I decided, no, I'm not gonna put whiskers. It just didn't look right. I know cats have whiskers, but it just didn't look right for this specific project. Now you're gonna see the little dent that the whisker make. It's gonna drive me crazy for the longest time until I smooth it out. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with that word today. Here. I was trying to make the most circle I could make with a stringy dough piece. But I mean, I had troubles making consistent circles even without the challenge of the material. So I am just happy that it was circle shaped. And then for this, I do have to, if you're gonna try it, make sure that you're making them roughly the same thickness, because this is gonna come to bite me later. I made these parts of the hair a little bit thicker than I did the face, just because I thought it was gonna be easier to make more details if I make the layer on the face a little bit thinner. But that's gonna be a problem in the future, so foreshadowing for you. And the legs, I noticed that I'm pretty sure they're not the right size. I think that one of them is bigger than the other one, but you know what? It's a cartoon. Who cares? I didn't at the time, so. But the arms are the same size. At least I checked on that. Little bean body. Oh, you know what I'm thinking now? I should have definitely put some toe beans on the mittens. I didn't do that, but now watching this, I missed an opportunity that I should have taken. We'll live and we'll learn. Maybe next time I'll do it. Maybe next time. And the water is just magic. It just helps you blend things very nicely. Having said that, after doing all the blending and like touching the glass itself in between, just for stability, the glass itself turned out disgusting, just like full of fingerprints. At this point, it was apparent to me that I've never actually seen a spacesuit, so I just made up this communication device. Because he's a kitty in space, he's gonna need a translation device, so this is like a translation little box. I know it might be silly that I made the same lines that I blurred out before, but there's a method to that madness. The reason why I blended before is because I wanted to connect the dough pieces. This is just superficial and for aesthetics, not for it prevents from creating weak points, because I imagine that if this draws hard, there's going to be more weak points in the places where it doesn't really merge with the other pieces. And I discovered that it's easier to make lines if you do just like little dottings. And this one, this is gonna bug me forevermore after. Look at that tangent. At that moment, I wasn't really thinking too much about that, and I didn't notice it until I noticed it, and then it was a problem. That is too late now. Can't change the past. And then my phone died because I didn't charge it. Happens quite often, but here's the result. See how the light comes through the face because I didn't use a thick enough layer? Look at the rest of it. Isn't it so beautiful? And it worked, and it was beautiful, and I was so happy. I just needed to clean the glass, and it's just very tactile. Is it tactile, the word I'm looking for? Well, it's fun to see the 3D-ness of it. I like it. But the very next day, it just broke. It dried up a little bit too much. I mean, of course, why wouldn't it? We are at temperatures of like 38 something, so let's try that again. I did notice that the Play-Doh on the page itself was doing really good. It dried up and it's holding onto the page. It's not going anywhere, and it's working properly. And I even shook it a little bit and tried to like get a lot from the page, but it didn't. So I think I'm just gonna try to do art on the page, not in this one because I like it and I want to use it in the future, but we're gonna trace that onto another paper. And if you have never done this before, if you have something and you want to trace another thing, just use carbon pencil in the back, and there you go. DIY carbon paper for you. Just washi tape so it doesn't actually ruin the paper, and do the tracing. Having said that, you just have to be a little bit careful that you're not leaving too much loose lead powder, carbon powder, what do you call it? Pencil blackness lead thing powder. Because when you turn it around, and like the little touching of the page can transfer that onto the other page, so something to be aware if you're doing that. And ta-da! It works. I kind of like seeing the oh my god, it worked very nice. I like seeing the sketch and then the rune piece, and then the evolution of how it happened and why it happened. And this one I did. It's interesting when you do something for the first time. Your hands are a little bit unsure about what they're doing, but once you do it the second time, it was so much faster the second time around. It's like your hands get used to the material, and it's just second nature. It just becomes easier. There was a lot of mixing and some points, but luckily I pre-mixed some things from the other day and I put them in a Ziploc bag so I could just reuse them. It is nice. What am I trying to say here? You don't quite notice how many muscles, or I guess your hands don't have muscles, but like, I guess how much. Let's pretend that they do have muscles. You don't quite notice how many different movements you have to do for massaging the dough. Because at the end of this, my hands were like tired, very tired. And I remember when I was a kid, they used to have this like proper plasticine, which is a different mix, is a different dough. It's not Play-Doh, because Play-Doh is fluffy and like actually kind of soft. We had to have this like really, really hard pieces of plasticine that you had to work on it for hours before it actually became malleable. And I remember with my whole body just pushing that little dough into the table so it will break a little bit, and it can, with the warmth of my hands, starts to make it a little bit more manageable. And it just brought a lot of memories. It's really funny because it's been more than 20 years that I've actually painted with plasticine or Play-Doh or any dough of any kind, so it was fun. So in this one, a little trick over here, I wanted to have just the face. So by putting something between so that the pencil doesn't contaminate the Play-Doh, the pencil from the back of the page. Oh, all right. Well, it didn't work the first time, but the second time was the charm. Because I had that little template from the transfer, I could just do. And I don't know if you consider this cheating using a scissors. I couldn't find any other scissors, and these are not my fabric scissors. I have another scissors that are fabric scissors. Don't worry, don't panic. These are my big scissors for big projects, but I couldn't find my little scissors for little projects. And this is one of the parts that I regret not doing it differently, because I'll show you later what I mean by that, but the eyes just ended up a little bit wonky, and I could have done them better had I spent more time on them. Having said that, I had stuff to do really soon after this, so I was trying to get this done as fast as I could, which ended up doing pretty fast because the second time around it took way less time than the first time around. It's because, you know, how the material works and reacts, so it's easier to work with it. And this cat I noticed that it's more orange. It looks way more orange because of the light. And yeah, I guess it is more orange than the other one. I should put a little bit of blue there to tone it down a little bit. But yeah, the water worked pretty good, that little water trick to unify all the doughs and make sure that nothing comes undone. See, that part right there, just putting another blob of white on top as opposed to ripping the both whites and making just a bigger circle of white. I should have done the bigger circle, but I didn't. C'est la vie. We live and we learn. I do like how the little mouth came out though. It turned out pretty cute. And again, I couldn't replicate the eyes. There's just something about the eyes on the sketch that are... Maybe it's because the nose itself is flatter in the drawing, that it looks just way more fun or funnier the 3D drawings. And now that I'm more used to or more experienced with using Play-Doh on paper, I think it would be really fun to do a piece of art where the background is just painted, but you have parts and pieces that just pop out. And I've been pondering as to what to do or what scene to create with that, because I think it would be really fun. My secret stash of pre-mixed Play-Doh. I remember when I was a child that they gifted me 2 books. I always loved being gifted books. And the books were for making animals with plasticine and making backgrounds in plasticine. And so it was my jam for a while there. I remember in a science open house? Social science? No, it was just science. Open house. And we were really young, so we were just learning about animals. And I did like a whole zoo with animals. And I wished that we'd had technologies back then to record that. I am pretty sure there's a photo somewhere, but way back in Ecuador, so I don't have access to that. But I just remember it being so much fun, and I remember being the hit of the open house that year, and it made me really happy because I had a lot of fun doing that and creating that. What is that thing, that term? Ikigai? When you... is that it? When people find what you do valuable and you're having fun doing that thing. That was my ikigai of that year. And so I just doing this, it kind of rekindled my love for creating things with colorful dough. And I know that I've said that I wanted to go back into sculpting more, and I haven't done that too much because life gets fairly busy. But yeah, the more I do it, the more I remember, or the more my muscles or my memory remember how much fun I had doing this sort of things. And if I have a really graspy voice today, it's because I'm really tired and it's really late. But it's the only time I had to do this. Now this time I did double check the length of the feet. After the first one, after realizing that maybe they're not the same length, I just wanted to make sure that the second time they were more accurate. Not perfect, but more accurate. Now with the paper, there was, I don't know what is it about it, but you had to have a very specific ratio of water to Play-Doh for it to be sticky. If you had too much water, it just came undone. And if you had too little water, it just wouldn't smooth out nicely. So it was a little bit tricky to just guesstimate how much water I needed for any given area. And the day was really, really hot. I came to my kitchen and my coconut oil container was liquid. Just that's That's crazy to me. It was just that hot. Now, this thing over here, if you've never done sculpting, I guess? What would you call this? Yeah, sculpting, we'll call it sculpting. Making a little, I'm gonna call it a hose that is relatively the same size or diameter all around. I find it kind of hard. But if you ever happen to break it, you just like have to squish it and then roll it again, and then nothing happened. See, good as new. Nobody knows nothing. Nothing happened here. Now, this part over here was the vein of my existence. There's something about this little thing. It was just not wanting to cooperate with me. So I had a little water, and then it was too much water, and then before I knew it, it was just coming undone. And it was just not wanting to stick to the paper. So if that ever happens to you, just use another tool. My hands were a little bit too watery, so it was sticking to my hands. So look at my hand, it's just doing absolutely nothing. I forgot how to be a hand. I just gave up on life, just resting there while the other one is working. What was I saying? All right, just use another tool and just press a little bit down so that the pressure of the tool helps it stick to the paper. There. Pretty happy with the results, and I just wanted to use that little metallic thing. It is not super metallic, but it has some mica powder in it, so it makes it look a little bit more shiny than anything. And it has glitter, which glitter. Doing this the second time around was much easier. There was less drag, or at least I knew how to do it better, so I didn't have to spend so much time fixing the lines, because the dotting was what helped. Now that part I completely forgot to fill in the helmet. So, ooh. Don't mind me, just quickly fixing this. And here, this is when I realized that it would be kind of fun to give a really interesting texture to the painting. So instead of doing like smooth flats, doing them with a little bit of disjointed. Is that the word that I'm looking for? So instead of doing just flats, doing little dots of Play-Doh, I think that would give it a fun texture. So I might try that in the future. Once I finish Little Kitty, it dawned on me that it might be a little bit too sad if he's just in a white background, so I decided to give him a little space. Pun intended. So using these watercolors, I did a little vignette. Is that what you call it when it's not like a full illustration in the background, just a little hint of something? Yeah, that's what it's called. A little vignette of space in the background. And also I thought that the water might help it bind to the paper more, the water on the edges. And it turned out pretty cute, the space in the background. It's very simple, but it's nice. And then I discovered that you can actually use them to paint on top of the Play-Doh as well. It takes very well to be painted on. There it is. Isn't it so cute? It turned out really nice. At least I like it. And the very next day, it was dry and it was ready to be Mod Podged. And my thought is that by putting the Mod Podge, and is that how you pronounce it? I don't even know. By putting this thing on top of it, it's gonna seal it, so it's not gonna shrink as much. Because when I was looking at the other one, I noticed that the shrinkage was a lot. And that's why it came undone from the actual glass, is because it didn't have enough grip on the glass anymore. Putting this on top, I think this it sealed the moisture in, or as much as you can do, because on the other side there's paper, but it sealed it just sealed most of the moisture in, so it made it so that it didn't come undone afterwards. It turned out really nice. I really liked it quite a bit. I'm gonna definitely try this again and do more different pieces with it. It does end up shiny, so just if you were looking for something matte, this might not be it for you, but I'm pretty sure there's Mod Podge that is, yeah, because this is a gloss finish. I'm pretty sure there's one that is matte finish. Oop, not on my watch. Little speck of dust. Yeah, just making sure that I got all the nick and crannies. And there it is. Here's my son. He's so cute. I liked it. Again, thank you so much for watching and sticking around and hanging out with me. If you like artsy videos like this, please consider subscribing. And I will see you next time. Bye for now.